Today I want to talk a little bit about inspiration and pressuring ourselves as photographer. Um, I was inspired to do this video because, as you can see by my incredibly warm sweater, we had a little bit of extreme weather lately, and for the first time in basically my lifetime, the Netherlands has been covered in snow for a longer period of time, with the last 2, 3 days just a constant blaze of snowfall. And this is something that really made me feel like I have to go out. I have to go out and take pictures. Not only is it a historic moment, but it brings a new key visual element in that I can never use before. And I just have to make something. And I really tried, but I noticed that I was actually not feeling as inspired as I thought I'd be. And I noticed that this pressure on myself to actually do something with the snow really took away a lot of creativity. I do not think it's bad to feel pressured to take pictures and presented with certain opportunities. However, I do want to talk about how we see those opportunities in the first place. Because whenever we are confronted with an opportunity, we tend to really see it in the scope of what others have done with it and not necessarily what we want to do with it ourselves, you know. If we go to a new city for the first time, we might think about pictures someone else has taken there that we really, really love, and we feel a little bit tempted to try and recreate those pictures, and then are disappointed with ourselves if we can't. If we see snow, you know, we immediately think of pictures we love taken in the snow, and start thinking of some opportunity to kind of recreate that for ourselves. And in that, you immediately close off your mind to everything you can actually do with this new visual element. And instead, you are busy with what others have done with it. And you start looking for other elements you need, and you close your eyes to the new things that are presented before you. So, for example, you know, I've talked a little bit about this before, how I never really try to copy other people because in general it just has a negative effect, and it, you know, detracts from finding out what you really want to do yourself. But in the snow, I could not help but be tempted, you know, and think of the foggy windows, and bright white with little spots of color seen through them, like for example Saul Leiter did in images like these, and this, and this, and really want to create something like that, and you know, hunting for those windows, hunting for those people in classic costumes, but there were none around, you know. And because of that, I felt kind of stilted in my creativity. You know, I felt like I want to create this, but you know, there's finally snow, but then there's this missing, and I just felt really bad that I didn't see those opportunities. I felt like there was something missing, and my mind went two places. Place one is, you know, it's not my fault. There's just not the other visual elements I need. You know, like there's snow, but there's no people in classic clothing or with nice colorful items. And the other place was basically, it is my fault because what I'm doing right now is I am looking for an opportunity that is not there, and doing so completely squandering the one that is there. And this second mindset, you know, ultimately won over, fortunately. And basically, as soon as I had given up on trying to find the images that I was hoping to find, I could open my mind to something new and something that was exciting about the snow. The sun started to go down. There was this beautiful sunset, and I just saw a row of buses standing there with one person, you know, sitting in the bus driver in front, and a beautiful silhouette cast out. And I walked a little bit closer and I tried to take a picture of that. And then I suddenly realized that because of the snow, there was so much more reflective light that whereas a sunset usually creates these really high contrast environments where it's almost impossible to really pick something out, the snow had kind of created this light box, these flashes from all different sides, which made the reflections of the rows of buses go on and into each other, and reflect the people and walking around them and in them from every different side. And then all of a sudden it clicked and I started to make these pictures. And suddenly I had found a way to use this snow not as some visual element by itself, not as something that put pressure on me to recreate other people's masterpieces, but instead this snow had become really what it should have been in the first place, which is an opportunity to create something new, something that was inside myself but that I never had the opportunity to create before, simply because the factors for it were not there. And it's so silly because we really sell both ourselves and these masters of photography short, because we kind of assume that these visual elements is what make their pictures great. And we also assume that these visual elements are only an opportunity for us because we suddenly get to make a picture where they are dominantly present, you know? Like the snow is what makes our picture great. Like, you know, the old classic car is what makes our picture great. Like our pictures are about that instead of about the person behind the lens. And I've thought about it a lot, how to avoid this trap, how to avoid this mistake. And here's the thing, I know it is a mistake. I know I should never try to recreate something and really try to find my own path. And still, you can fall into this trap. So what I think is more useful is to think in positive terms, to think of how should we look at these opportunities, not how we should not look at them. So what can we do? How can we make visual elements that are interesting to us about more than just cliches, than just opportunities to have them in our frame? Well, we split them up in even more key visual elements. And let me explain you what I mean by that. So for example, with the snow, instead of seeing it as snow, and we see it as white, colorless, we see it as a reflective surface, we see it as something that slows people down. We see it as something that obstructs and changes the pace of life. And now all of a sudden we are no longer looking at snow as an opportunity to show snow. We are looking at it as an opportunity to show people that are slowed down, to show people lit up from different angles, to create more color contrast, to frame things that previously would be too fast to frame. And all of a sudden, snow has gotten from this thing we want to put in our pictures because it's snow to something that gives us a myriad of opportunities to pursue pictures we could have never taken before. And I do this with everything. For example, umbrellas. If we see an umbrella just as an umbrella, just something we want in our pictures, because there were a lot of great pictures taken with an umbrella, then we kind of take pictures of them regardless of, you know, whether it really adds something. Whereas if we look at an umbrella as a place of shelter, as a hood that can obscure the one who carries it, as something that casts a shadow, as an item that gives us a feeling of protection and safety. Now all of a sudden we have all these little different meaningful visual elements we can play with and that we can think about. And I want to challenge you to look at some visual elements that you're chasing and think about how you could cut them into what they actually mean, what they are used for, what kind of effect they have both on your pictures and on the feel of those pictures, both on how you take pictures and how they look in end result, and then use that dissection to look for opportunities to not repeat cliches, but to really express yourself. So that's it for today. I realized the video might be a little bit rambly and that the light situation was a little bit dramatic. I'm still kind of new to this self-videoing thing, so I had to cut it short and massive settings a little bit. But I hope the message came through anyway, clearly. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from you what you thought of this video, how you work in avoiding cliches and grabbing photographic opportunities in a way that is all you. And I'd also love to hear more about future video subjects you would like to be tackled. I'm very much looking forward to creating more content with this, like more long form talks where I philosophize about photography and the ways I try to be genuine and create something new. And I hope this was helpful to you, and I'm always looking for opportunities to explain more about my process and also learn from you about yours. So let me know in the comments what you think, and have a great weekend.